The Washington Post is being hammered online after they just admitted wrongly attributing multiple remarks to President Trump from a phone call with a Georgia election official. This massive correction comes 2 months after the Post lied, misquoting President Trump in a phone call with Francis Watson, chief investigator with the Georgia Secretary of State's office. Many will likely remember how on January 9th, the Post reported that President Trump told Watson to find the fraud he claims happened during the 2020 US election, and that if she did, she'd be a national hero. An actual recording of the call reveals that Trump said no such thing. Here is a screenshot of the correction where the Washington Post admits, quote, 2 months after publication of this story, the Georgia Secretary of State released an audio recording of President Donald Trump's December phone call with the state's top elections investigator. The recording revealed that the Post misquoted Trump's comments on the call based on information provided by a source. Trump did not tell the investigator to, quote, find the fraud or say she would be a national hero if she did so. Instead, Trump urged the investigator to scrutinize ballots in Fulton County, Georgia, asserting she would find dishonesty there. He also told her that she had, quote, the most important job in the country right now. A story about the recording can be found here. They include a link. The headline and text of this story have been corrected to remove quotes misattributed to Trump. I'm sure that for many watching, this obvious bias by the Washington Post is no surprise given their known ties to the CIA. The Washington Post's owner, Jeff Bezos, has a $600 million cloud computing contract with the CIA. And in 2017, Hillary Clinton's former campaign chair, John Podesta, joined the Washington Post as well. Here they include this new response from Trump after the Washington Post corrected their story. Trump said, quote, you will notice that establishment media errors, omissions, mistakes, and outright lies always slant one way, against me and against Republicans. Meanwhile, stories that hurt Democrats or undermine their narratives are buried, ignored, or delayed until they can do the least harm. For example, after an election is over. At the end of his statement, Trump says, quote, this latest media travesty underscores that legacy media outlets should be regarded as political entities, not journalistic enterprises. More info in this article at Zero Hedge. They say the Post corrected both the headline and text within the article and wrote a subsequent report to explain how they received incorrect quotes from an anonymous source in December. They add a paragraph here from the Daily Caller that says the newspaper's incorrect quotes were attributed to an anonymous source back in December. Audio of Trump's phone call with Watson came about after Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis announced a criminal investigation surrounding the former president's aim to overturn the 2020 election results. Because of the criminal investigation, Willis requested that state officials keep documents that may relate to an investigation into attempts to influence the 2020 election, the New York Times previously reported. Meanwhile, CNN jumped on the bandwagon, repeating the Washington Post's lie that Trump wanted Watson to, quote, find the fraud, citing a source with knowledge of the call. Beckett Adams from the Washington Examiner explains this in a tweet, saying, you all are missing the real story about Washington Post's correction of its Trump Georgia investigation's chief scoop. The real scandal is that a bunch of newsrooms claimed at the time they confirmed the details of the scoop with their own anonymous sourcing. For example, he says NBC News said it, quote, confirmed the Post's characterization of the December 23rd call through a source familiar with the conversation, while USA Today claimed a Georgia official speaking on condition of anonymity to discuss internal matters confirmed the details of the call. So after the Washington Post made up this fake quote, all these other mainstream media outlets, including CNN, NBC, USA Today, and others, claimed that they had confirmed these fake quotes through their own sources when obviously they hadn't. Here they continue by reminding us how both the Washington Post and CNN initially reported that there was unlikely to be a recording of the call. I guess maybe that's why they thought they could get away with these fake quotes. Watson, however, found it in her trash folder, according to the Washington Examiner, and it was first published by AP on March 11th. Here's another tweet on this story saying, why did the Georgia Secretary of State delete the full audio of the call from Trump in the first place? It was only later found in a trash folder on a state computer. Fox News contributor Molly Hemingway tweeted, quote, "Our media are so breathtakingly corrupt. They always mischaracterized this call in a corrupt and fraudulent way, but to actually make up quotes in service of that, we are so screwed by our disgustingly corrupt and unaccountable media." This Fox News article includes another tweet from conservative writer Mark Hemingway, who said the Post's correction and new headline did not adequately reflect its wrongdoing, calling the mistake beyond serious and indicative of the lack of accountability in corporate media. He says, "This kind of mistake is beyond serious. There's zero accountability in major corporate media anymore, yet they continually insist they're the ones holding the line on the truth. And always remember, what should scare you about the media is what doesn't get exposed." After that, he says, also note headline on the Post's follow-up story is a sort of maliciously anodyne, quote, "Recording reveals details of Trump call to Georgia's chief elections investigator. It's not, quote, Trump's remarks grossly misrepresented across media because we credulously fall for political ops." Trump has already responded to this, saying the Washington Post's misquoting of his call with this Georgia official was a media travesty. Here's one more tweet showing just a few of the many other media outlets who shared this fake quote. Most of these articles from the mainstream media that have now been proven to be fake have still not been removed. And while big tech censors continue targeting and trying to shut down independent news outlets over so-called misinformation, it still seems unlikely that these mainstream sites are going to be held to the same standard. As usual, thank you very much everyone who has supported this channel while helping me fight the growing censorship here on social media. All of your support through Super Chats along with your donations at PayPal and Patreon make a huge difference, helping me continue to report on these important issues. You can find either link down in the video description where you can support this channel directly, patreon.com/realityreader or paypal.me/realityreader. Please leave a comment and tell me what you think about this latest update. I will follow up soon. Thanks again.